Finally, One Piece episode 1134 has arrived, where we get to know Bonnie gets saved and what crazy price Kuma has to pay to make it happen. But Saturn's back with his slimy tricks to crush Kuma's soul. This time, Kuma's stuck in a brutal deal. Watch till the end to find out why Kuma's ship pulls up in Luffy's hometown. The episode kicks off, continuing the chaos on Egghead Island. And who shows up looking cool? Admiral Kizaru himself, rocking his iconic pinstripe suit and that Borsalino hat. And Kizaru's not alone, because Kuma is there. Marines are storming the island, and who's with them? X-Drake. That's right, X-Drake. Before he went all undercover pirate, this explains so much. Remember on Sabaody when Drake saw a pacifista and was like, Vegapunk, you reproduce Kizaru's ability in Kuma's body? I had no idea the Pacifista project developed this far. He knew because he was there when it began. Kizaru strolls into Dr. Vegapunk's laboratory, complaining about how cold the island is, so different from Punk Hazard, which, remember, was a lush green island before Akainu and Aokiji turned it into a frozen, fiery hellscape, and then Caesar Clown messed it up again 4 years ago. Vegapunk, his head still hilariously huge, this lab will be the future. My head is overflowing with so many ideas I cannot think straight. But Kizaru, cool as ever, drops the bombshell. That's probably why you didn't notice the spy transponder snails planted everywhere in this facility. Vegapunk the genius got bugged. He just moved in after the Punk Hazard accident and didn't even realize. That's why Kizaru was dispatched to deliver a message. Kizaru then brings out a special Denden Mushi, and through it, a chilling voice. St. J. Garcia Saturn, one of the 5 elders, communicates directly with Vegapunk and Kuma. Saturn, having eavesdropped on their previous conversation, the deal for Vegapunk to cure Bonnie in exchange for Kuma being the pacifista host, gets straight to the point. He spoke, his voice dripping with cold authority, and he refused the idea of making Kuma a candidate for the pacifista project, as Vegapunk envisioned it. He continued, "It will ruin the Navy's reputation. He's a pirate, a criminal with a bounty of 296 million. With that, Saturn, that manipulative old bastard, proceeded to reveal 3 horrific non-negotiable conditions Kuma must honor if he wished to cure Bonnie. This ain't Vegapunk's deal anymore. This is Saturn twisting the knife. Condition number 1. Kuma must become one of the 7 warlords of the seas. Saturn claims this is necessary to maintain peace, because the previous warlord was killed by a rookie named Ace just a few days ago. Ace took down a warlord? Ace rejected the warlord gig around this time, so Kuma is filling that vacant spot. Condition number 2. Kuma himself must undergo procedures to become a human weapon for the Navy. A full-blown cyborg transformation. The air in the room suddenly gets ice cold as Kuma, his face a mask of grim resolve, questions Saturn directly, "Are you talking about modifying my body?" Saturn, without a shred of empathy, replied, "Yes. You have all the traits required to be an effective warlord, so that pirates will fear you after these enhancements. But because you're a former member of the Revolutionary Army, we must make sure that you never betray us." And this leads to the third, the final, the most soul-crushing requirement. You must agree to give up your free will and your sense of individuality. Your mind must be erased when your surgery ends. Lashing out in a sudden explosion of anger, Vegapunk shouted at Saturn, that would be the same as killing him. This is because none of the other warlords actually follow orders, isn't it? If you remove all the humanity left in a cyborg, he'll be nothing more than a robot. Do you really expect me to murder a man? Vegapunk is righteously indignant, but Saturn, that cold-hearted snake, quickly and viciously shut Vegapunk down. You are in no position to argue with me, marine scientist. You are only a military scientist. These conditions, Saturn declares, must be met if the criminal Kuma truly intends to cure his daughter. It's a small price to pay considering how expensive and difficult the procedure is. Otherwise, I have no obligation to help this girl. But Kuma himself, his face lowered, his voice heavy with resignation, interrupted him. Vegapunk, please, do it! I have been worrying all this time, thinking that it'll be impossible to save Bonnie. And then, without a single visible tear, but with a voice choked with emotion, Kuma spoke out, "I'm so grateful. I'll happily accept my fate, so long as Bonnie is cured." This emotional, heartbreaking sacrifice shocked everyone in the room. Kuma, making a literal deal with the devil incarnate, all for his daughter. The scene then briefly shifts, a painful contrast, towards Bonnie, playing happily and innocently with Sentomaru, running down the hallway, completely oblivious to the horrific sacrifice her father is making for her. Saturn then turns back to Vegapunk. How long will it take to cure Bonnie and finish Kuma's modifications? Vegapunk, still reeling, replied that Bonnie's surgery and treatment would take 6 months, but she would need to rest for 1 full year after that before she could safely go outside into natural sunlight. Kuma's cyborg modifications, on the other hand, would take a minimum of 2 years. Kuma, hearing this timeline, bowed his head, a sigh of profound relief escaping him. Thank goodness. Bonnie will really be okay by the time she turns 10. This means her treatment and rehab would finish when she's around 3 years away from that milestone, giving her time to be healthy. But suddenly, Saturn, ever distrustful, spoke out again. He revealed that the world government will take custody of Bonnie after her 6-month treatment to make sure Kuma fulfills his end of the bargain. She will be their hostage. Vegapunk exclaimed, but that would mean Kuma won't get to see Bonnie after she's cured. They'll never see each other again. Saturn, cold as ice, answered, correct. His modifications will commence immediately. It'll be an ongoing process so that he can work as a warlord and also shun the thoughts of escaping with his daughter. After Bonnie is cured, any contact between the two will be strictly forbidden so they do not escape together. And if any form of defiance is spotted, his daughter will be taken as a slave. This vile statement sent chills, clear warning vibes, straight to Kuma as he grimly consented to the agreement. This is why Kuma became the most obedient of the warlords. He was blackmailed. He then asked Saturn for a single favor, begging that no one should let Bonnie know that she's being kept as a hostage or anything about this horrible deal. He continued that Bonnie's treatment and rehabilitation should be done at his church in Sorbet Kingdom, her home, not some soulless government facility. With intense conviction, Kuma declared, if you can grant that one request, then I promise that I won't seek her out or try to make contact. Agreeing to this, Saturn replied that it makes no difference where she's being kept. As long as the world government oversees it, there's no problem. Looks like we have an interesting 2 years ahead of us. These 2 years for Kuma's full modification would run until roughly 2 years before the present story, meaning he became a full robot right between the Sabaody and Marineford arcs. This is why he told Luffy at Sabaody, we will not meet again, not because Luffy was going to die, but because Kuma himself, his consciousness, was going to die. Kuma then walked to Bonnie, his heart heavy, to tell her that they will be staying at Egghead Island for the next 6 months. He lies, to protect her, saying, they think I'm also sick too, and need to be checked. Excited, Bonnie asked, so you're staying with me, Daddy? Kuma, forcing a smile, replied, yes. Bonnie jumped up for joy as he introduced Sentomaru to his father. Kuma, Sentomaru, ever cautious, warned them that there are many windowless rooms here, and some of the gadgets might be dangerous. As their stay begins, Vegapunk is seen continuing with his research, his massive head practically vibrating with future ideas for Egghead and countless other inventions. He even exclaims, this is going to keep me busy forever. I wish there were 3 or 5 of me. Finally, Kuma's modifications and Bonnie's curing process began. And during this time, incredible bonds were formed. Kuma even helped out with chores around the lab. Over the next 6 months, Kuma, Bonnie, Vegapunk, Sentomaru, and even Admiral Kizaru grew closer. They shared moments like a giant pizza party, Bonnie's favorite food, her expression mirroring Ginny's love for food. And here's the kicker, they were all dancing to the drums of liberation, a clear reference to the sun god Nika. Yes, Kizaru was doing the Nika dance. This has to be foreshadowing a face turn for Kizaru. He has the light Logia, sun versus darkness, light versus shadow. We also see glimpses of Kuma's treatment. The machine he's in is the exact same one from that brief Marineford flashback image, and Vegapunk's outfit with gloves and a striped shirt also matches how Kuma depicted him 15 years ago. The Yumit cargo ship bringing materials to build Egghead also has the symbol of Yumit, an underworld emperor from Big Mom's Tea Party. Oda's continuity is God tier. After 6 months, Bonnie's treatment concludes successfully. Vegapunk reveals that the treatment was a success, and after a year of rehabilitation in Sorbet, Bonnie will be completely cured and able to step into natural sunlight. Kuma and Bonnie thank him profusely. Bonnie, ever hopeful, says she hopes to visit Vegapunk once she is all better, which he accepts. The tragic irony here is that the next time she comes to Egghead, it's because she wants to kill Vegapunk, wrongly blaming him for what Saturn did to Kuma. Returning to Sorbet, Bonnie tells everyone in the church that she will be better in a year, which makes them extremely happy. This also means that King Bulldog and Queen Dowager Connie, who now wears a new, lighter colored hat that perfectly matches the one Bonnie inherits, will take care of her again. Kuma prepares to leave for his warlord duties and cyborg modifications. He tells Bonnie he will not see her again for at least a year. And though Bonnie was saddened by this, Kuma offers to write to her, which she happily accepts. Kuma also says that next they meet, they can sail together, which Bonnie eagerly looks forward to, though she was completely unaware that Kuma was lying through his teeth. Knowing Saturn's cruel conditions meant they could never truly meet again once his mind was erased. This explains why they didn't meet at Sabati, even though they were so close. Just then, a nurse named Alpha, who is secretly a member of Cypher Pol 8, could she be Khalifa's twin sister? She looks identical. Their names are similar. Alpha, Khalifa, and their father, Lasky, could easily have had twin daughters in Cypher Pol, or maybe a clone, like Stussy, comes in saying she will take it from here. She's basically turning the church into a prison, setting up iron walls, fences, and a checkpoint for anyone who wishes to visit, demanding identifications. Complaints broke out about this new oppressive structure, but Alpha coldly revealed that it's where she will be staying to monitor Bonnie. Turning towards Kuma, she took a piece of stone and broke it sharply before his eyes, a cold, brutal threat. This will be the fate of your daughter if you try anything stupid. Kuma got the message, loud and clear, hinting that he's not coming back again to Sorbet as himself. So he bid his final farewell to Bonnie, his voice thick with unshed tears. Thank you, Bonnie. I'm so glad you were born. This line is unbelievably powerful, echoing the very first words Kuma's own parents told him. I'm glad you were born and came out to see us. The tragic full circle. Then he left, walking out of everyone's life, a hero forced to become a monster. And how did Bonnie eventually escape this government imprisonment? Likely by disguising herself as Old Lady Connie, hat and all, fooling Alpha, who, if she's anything like Khalifa, wasn't the sharpest tool in CP's shed. News of Kuma as one of the 7 warlords starts to spread like wildfire, especially since he obediently obeys every single order the world government gives him, no questions asked. This explains Moria's confusion on Thriller Bark, wondering about Kuma's true motives. We get to see reactions from various characters, including the original warlords, who all become curious about Kuma's sudden appearance, his immense strength, his bizarre behavior, and his unknown powers. Doflamingo, chilling with Sugar, expresses interest. They'd later travel to Mary Geoise together for a warlord meeting, and Doffy would eventually explain Kuma's supposed death at Marineford. Robin, still Miss All Sunday, informs Crocodile, who's more pissed about her disposing of witnesses who saw their rain-making ship in Alabasta, the fool that used dance powder. A Banana Wani even chills behind them. Mihawk is probably just polishing his sword, unbothered. Hancock, the Snake Princess, declares, "This is nothing to do with me," even as Granny Nyan is pressuring her to pay attention. Gecko Moria, with Perona, exclaims, "Paw human? What the heck kind of power is that?" This chapter perfectly shows why Moria became interested in figuring out Kuma's abilities before their Thriller Bark confrontation. He learned about him here. Alvida, ever the narcissist, asks a terrified Kobe, "Who do you think is stronger, me or him?" Kobe, bless his heart, stammers, "Of course it's you, Lady Alvida." Alvida even notes, supposedly he's a man close in size to that of Whitebeard. And Whitebeard is massive. Not a buccaneer, but definitely something more than just human. Maybe all the races in One Piece were intermingling 800 years ago, leading to all the crazy shapes and sizes we see today. Quick pause if Kuma's heartbreaking deal got you shook. Smash that subscribe button to stay in the game. Back to the insanity. On Whitebeard's ship, the Moby Dick, Ace, now officially a Whitebeard pirate. This is the year before Teach murders Thatch and steals the Yami Yami no Mi, and Jinbe, who became a warlord 11 years ago to protect Fishman Island after Fisher. Tiger's death and the Sun Pirates disbanded, are discussing Kuma with Whitebeard himself, Marco, and a pre-Darkness Marshal D. Teach. Ace casually says, "Jinbei, a successor to the vacant warlord spot, has been chosen great," and Jinbei replies, "You're the one to talk, Ace." The Revolutionary Army, Dragon, Sabo, Hack, and Koala are completely perplexed and utterly baffled by Kuma's sudden, unquestioning allegiance to the world government. They know Kuma better than anyone. This betrayal must have cut deep. Kuma continued to sail the seas as a warlord, even though he was attacked frequently by bounty hunters and wiping out other pirate crews on WG orders. He wrote his first letter to Bonnie, a promise he kept. It reads, "Dear Bonnie, I'm still at sea as I write this, have become quite known, and it's getting harder by the day to sail in peace, but I am doing okay. I'm trying to find a good travel destination for you when you turn 10. I hope everyone is doing well at home, as I'm doing." With a sad smile, he wrapped up the letter and gave it to a news crew to deliver it. His ship? It's custom made, modeled after him. The hull is in the pattern of his hat. It has two massive bear ears. The front is shaped like a cross, and the building on the ship, it looks just like his church in Sorbet. And the sail, likely his Jolly Roger. It has the writing Kuma with a drawing of his face, a drawing Bonnie made of him as a child. An incredibly heartfelt, bittersweet detail. The episode concludes with Kuma, the newly minted obedient warlord, arriving at Fuchsia Village in the East Blue, Luffy's freaking hometown, on an undisclosed mission from the world government. Luffy here should be around 15 or 16 years old, about a year or two before he set sail at the start of One Piece. This is a point in time we've never seen before. As Kuma's ship docks, he noticed a teenage Luffy running through the forest, fleeing from a giant tiger. Luffy's yelling, "It's mad now." Just then, Kuma receives a Den Den Mushi call. A government agent on the other end says, "Kuma, we have an order from the government for you. Where are you right now?" Kuma calmly replies, "In the East Blue. What's the order?" And the video ends. What is Kuma doing in Luffy's village? What are his orders? Is he there to check up on Dragon's son? Kuma knew Luffy was Dragon's son, even when Ivankov didn't. Did Dragon confide in him father to father? Or did Kuma somehow find out during this visit? Did the government somehow realize the Nika fruit was lost on this island, eaten by this kid? Could Kuma have covered up for Luffy all this time, misleading the government? And remember, at Thriller Bark, Kuma knew Ace was Luffy's brother. A fact Garp and high-up WG officials knew, but would they have told Kuma? How did he know all this stuff? Is this visit connected to that knowledge? We have no details on this mission, but the implications are huge. The next episode is going to be absolutely incendiary. That's episode 1134, Kuma's Sacrifice, and that Luffy hometown bombshell hit like a cannon. If this recap got you hyped, smash that like button and comment 1135 below to get this out to more One Piece fans. It'll speed up the next drop. Subscribe to keep the fire going, and I'll see you next time.